Welcome to Nameless Debate Radio, where radioactivity is contagious.
It's probably true.
I have a question that's not quite related.
It's funny. It's probably true because you guys have a higher chance to reach truth because you're lower in the homosexualityisms.
You tickle me.
Oh yeah.
Although
Conversation.
you could
Go.
make the argument that the fact that he wouldn't say it definitely is true means he's a little gay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. This may mean that the Kinsey scale, right, is the objective measurement of whether or not somebody can achieve truth.
So this is like an unrelated question, but I think it's important. What do you guys think about not having the emoji in the names of the VCs because the user bot can't summon Craig if they have emoji?
That's an Achilles question to me because personally I couldn't be fucked.
No, sounds good to me.
Like, it's so annoying having to type them anyway, man.
Can't you remove the? I don't know.
Even if I get the user bot to type the emoji, Craig's just like, "What the fuck room is that?"
So basically the bot's like, oh shit, this channel has emojis. I'm sorry, I have taste.
No, you're getting it wrong then.
No, because I run the exact command by hand, and it runs the exact command and is identical, and Craig works for me and does not work for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a user, not a bot.
No, but when you copy an emoji, it does this weird thing where
I'm not copying it. I'm using the text.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's does the text have the emoji in it?
Yep. It renders it perfectly fine. It's as if
No, you're doing it
there's
wrong.
nothing wrong. Go look in fucking mod chat, dude.
Hey, I want to grab something and then I want to talk about the difference between certainty and confidence. Okay.
No, not mod chat. I mean dev chat.
Yeah. Are you guys up for that conversation?
Certainty and confidence.
Mm-hmm. But not now. After I grab something.
You grab that
Sounds
thing.
good to me.
Cool.
You should run with that one though, Matt.
Oh, we should probably wait till it gets back.
It's just semantics. So yeah, let's see. Before we were so rudely interjected upon, I think I was coming around. Dante thought I was talking to him.
No, I was giving you love.
Oh, I love you, bud. So yeah, I was basically coming around to the summary that I generally tend to try to see the best in the people that I surround myself with, especially digitally, because we don't even really need to tolerate people we don't like digitally. We have the option of muting or blocking or unfollowing out. All the other different ways that we don't have to kind of, be reminded of people that we don't want to be around. So for me, I just think that there's a lot more value to try to find the silver lining in each other's reasons for talking to each other, the truths that we're trying to express, the feelings even. Like, intellectuals generally tend to scrub feelings because they cloud the they cloud the conversation from being the perceived ability at getting to the objective core of things. But I found that you can incorporate feelings just at least a little bit in a way that helps satisfy that subjective itch that we have that usually isn't interested in the reductionist approach. Because I didn't have any interest in reductionism for a long time. I actually kind of tried to reject it. And then when I saw how ubiquitous it could be, that's when I started to realize that there was a way that you could kind of satiate the emotional underpinnings of why we speak about things, why we even bother to open our mouths. It's usually because there's a feeling underneath it. Sorry, that was a bit shotgunny.
Oh my god, you use that term as well.
You use
Sound
that?
like Chris had. No, I just had someone else use it real recently. Seemed
Like
like
just
Chris
a-
was going to say something.
A spray. Yeah, go for it, Chris. Cut me off here.
What?
That's right.
Oh, is my mic on?
Yeah.
Oh, is that background noise?
No, tell us something awesome.
So, well, I think it's awesome, but you guys probably don't give a shit. There's this CTF that I'm doing. A CTF is like a sort of programming challenge where they like hide stuff in the code and you have to try and find it.
Nice.
And yeah, this version is actually like a game that's like built with vulnerabilities in it. And one of the puzzles has 32 inputs and it's like a logic puzzle. And so there's like 2 billion combinations or something.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And what do you do with all that?
You have to try and solve it basically.
How do you go about
Yeah,
solving something like that?
Well, I'm still not entirely certain. So far what I've
You're
been
not
doing is like,
explaining the game properly, you piece of shit.
well, have you give it a go then?
Are you fucking stoned?
Well,
You are,
Howard,
aren't you?
do not accuse me of such things.
Basically, the idea is like the game is like built to have all of these vulnerabilities, right?
Okay.
And so like the quests that you're doing require that you figure out how to cheat to get them done most of the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
like
kind of cool.
basically it's impossible to beat the game without cheating.
Wow, that's interesting.
So the idea is that they have like they allow you to cheat, but then they've gone to like significant lengths to make it difficult to figure out how to cheat in such a way to do what you need to do, right? Like you can cheat in a whole bunch of ways, but how do you cheat in such a way that you can complete the mission? Like what's required of you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what's an
And the mission-
advantageous way to cheat?
Uh-huh.
And the
Okay.
mission's like it seems like you're gonna get it, and then like all of a sudden there'll be like some bullshit piece like information that you know nothing about. So like one of them is like you have to kill like some boss, right? And it's like you eventually like figure out how to do lots of damage quickly, and it's like yeah, okay, cool, and you get it down to like half health, and it just immediately regenerates completely.
That's
And
annoying.
like you gotta do something else. Like you can't actually beat it by fighting it. And then there was
You
another
gotta
one
what,
where
sorry?
like you can't beat it just by directly fighting it by the way it seems anyway.
What do you have to do?
I don't know.
Some indirect, like maybe you have to walk it off a
Yeah.
cliff or something.
No, you
Yeah.
probably have to like figure out how to shrink its health a lot so you can one hit it.
Well,
Ooh.
that's what I was thinking, right? And I was like, okay, I'll write a script to that. So I captured all the network packets for all like a bunch of different shit, and then I'm running it through a proxy, like that I built. And so that
Nice.
way I can inject the packets. And so like I captured like the packets of like firing this like sniper rifle and reloading, and so you can just like inject the packets and like go bang bang bang, like rapid fire it and reload it like with a script. But yeah, it just regens its health. So I'm thinking like maybe like it's sending its health through, and like there's probably a check to stop its health like going below 0. Like you can't just change its health to 0 or something. But what I'm thinking maybe is like so in Age of Empires, there's this mod called 256 Tech Mod, and like it allows you to research any of the technologies up to 256 times.
Okay.
But if you like research some of them too many times, because it's a 32-bit game, you end up with an integer overflow.
which
and so
means
basically, so generally, if you have a signed integer, like the last bit determines whether it's positive or negative. Hence, that's what the signed bit means.
Okay.
Okay. And
Dude,
so,
that is so clever.
Yeah, I like that.
So, yeah, if the very end bit is a 1, that means it's like negative, right?
Okay.
And so if you like are filling it up more and more and more, and then you get up to that 30, or like I'm not sure that would be actually that many. It would be smaller, but like say you get up to like that 16th bit, right?
Okay.
Or you're in the 15th, and you need to go one more than that, right? So
Okay.
then it flips it, and it flips that bit, and all of them go back to 0, right? Because like that's how it counts. Do you understand like basic binary counting?
Somewhat, like, but you feel free to expand on that.
Yeah, so I'll give like an example of like say it has 4 bits, right?
Okay.
So the first bit determines if it's positive or negative, and then you got 3 more bits.
Mm-hmm.
So say you're counting through. You got like 1, then like 1 0, then 1 1, then
Uh-huh.
1 0 0, then 1 0 1, then 1 1 0, and
Uh-huh.
then you hit 1 1 1. And
Uh-huh.
if you try and count more than that, then it goes 1 0 0 0. So that signed bit went from a 0 to a 1, which now means it's negative. And so in Age of Empires, when your health, that signed bit gets flipped, you go from having like 50,000 health to having negative 50,000 health, and all of a sudden, all of your buildings die.
Whoa. Okay. So you're thinking of doing some kind of bit flip to the
Maybe like instead of like trying to kill it, I'll like try and like heal it or something.
Yeah. Oh,
That's such
dude,
a clever
I don't
idea,
know.
man.
that is.
I don't know. Like
Dude,
killing it didn't work. So.
How do you guys like? How did you start learning all of this?
Well, I've sort of not really been knowing too much what I'm doing.
But you've been like,
No, the game
Yeah,
is
I'm just
built so that you discover clues.
yeah. So
no,
like,
no, I get that. But like, did you just dive into this kind of bit flipping?
I mean, he's a programmer,
Right.
yeah. So I've got
Okay. So
programming background, and like,
and so
So
like
sort of-
capture the flag is like trying to find like hidden bits in the code.
yeah, they hide flags in there, and often there'll be like leet speak or something like that, just because they can, you know.
So it's a programming challenge sort of thing, and he's talking about this specific version of the challenge, which is instantiated into a
It's like-
game.
Yeah, it's like a game.
that sounds like a fun way to learn too. Because
Yeah,
we're trying to get my oldest son into programming because he shows an interest in it.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just want to have him spend some time with you guys somehow, someday.
that could be cool.
Once he gets like a base enough to understand the language,
Yeah,
it seems like you guys
What, like a first generation language, or
something like that, where he would just at least be able to kind of hold it in a
that
pocket.
was a meme, man.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Something that comes first, though, is what I'm thinking.
yeah. It's probably like
One
something
sec.
like Python.
Just enough to get a base.
Yeah, I think Python like is a pretty good starting language. It's
Python?
a little bit different, like other like object oriented ones, but it's like a real good starting point.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind then.
And so like it's good because like you can go from like starting off really simple to like there's so many like libraries and stuff for it that you can do like almost anything now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much the language that you're going to need to know somehow in the future.
Yeah, like a lot of the machine learning stuff is written in Python, like with TensorFlow, like just heaps of stuff is moving towards it.
Cool. Well, that's what I'm going to aim them in that direction then, at the very least.
Yeah, like for the lower level stuff, it's written like in more lower level languages, but like that's if you're like more near the hardware level, not, and that's like a lot more specialized, basically.
So, what is this that Matt just... Is he memeing me? First generation, okay. Okay, so first generation programming language S1GL is a grouping of programming languages that are machine level languages.
Oh,
used to-
sorry, the bot's not running at the moment. I'm running. So hang on. I'll
God damn it. That's cool.
sorry. I
No,
was
he
doing
read
some-
the Google search link anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I made a joke about a first generation language,
Uh-huh.
but you were talking about like the meta language, like the vernacular you use to describe it.
Yep.
Yeah, but a first level language, a first generation programming language is like binary sort of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what, like, if you knew how to speak binary, you would be able to kind of make your way through, I guess, everything in one form or another.
Well, the way computers work is
Well,
that
generally, like that will get turned back into what is
Yeah.
called assembly.
Assembly?
And so, yeah, and so
Okay.
the way that sort of works is that it's like a very low level, and so the instructions that you're working with are the same instructions the machine work with, except that instead of like having to like read like hex like AA7D and
Yeah.
like knowing like that instruction means like jump, like it
Right.
just says like JMP, and like so it's still the like the hardware level instructions, but it's just like so each command has like a flag, like an instruction, like a
Mhm.
pointer, like that like signifies like do this instruction.
Yeah.
So you have like instruction number one, and so instead of just like being the numbers, it converts it into something that's a bit more human readable. But
That's cool.
and then like every generation of language above that is like again like a small jump in like the complexity of what you're referring to when you use the commands.
Yeah. So is that then where you get into like Java and Python and C++ and all that?
Those are what generation are those?
first generation programming language doesn't have an image. What the heck?
So this is what I wanted to talk about, right? Because I think that there is a bit of like a distinction, right, to be made. You have so I think that like you guys are probably aware of how philosophy like has like the normative understanding, and I've talked with NSYNC about this, about philosophy is like just your ideas in like some very very vague way, right? Like, oh, you have a philosophy, I have a philosophy, blah blah blah, but it's like distinct from like the actual subject of philosophy, right?
Are you saying like the way that most people in like
The
kind of
common
a public
understanding
exchange?
of the
Yeah.
common understanding of what people mean when they say philosophy is
Yeah.
distinct from the subject of philosophy.
Yes.
Like
Or when people say,
significantly
"Oh, I have a
distinct.
theory," and
Right.
it's just something that they're thinking about.
Yeah, like they don't mean a scientific theory or like something that's
No,
true.
they just don't even mean rigor. They just mean like a passing thought.
Yes. Or suspicion of who's dating who.
Yeah,
Anyhow, my point is that it seems to me like that's the case with certainty. So like that's why I think that like a lot of people have made the distinction between certainty and absolute certainty.
Okay.
So like if certainty like if certainty like is used by a lot of people to mean confidence, saying absolute certainty is like a way of distinguishing that for like the lay people.
I mean, yeah, but it's also redundant.
No, I understand. Like, but I think that sometimes redundancy can be useful if it like furthers the understanding.
Or I could just tell them, as I always do, that what they mean is confidence.
Yeah. Though it's like say you're doing like a lecture, right? And you're not getting feedback. you won't know that they're like misunderstanding. And if you know that like a lot of people will misunderstand, it may not be like the best choice.
No, but that's what I'm saying is because I would use the word confident, not certainty in the like. What would you say?
Not certainty to mean confidence.
I wouldn't use certainty in that colloquial sense. So if I was giving a lecture, people couldn't be confused about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you'd have to use confidence though.
Yeah, but that's what I would always use because that's what I mean, right?
Like, but in that lecture, like, would you be talking about confidence?
If when I said I was certain of something, I would either say I am almost certain, or I would say I am very confident. Those are the two positions available to me as an epistemologically aware individual.
Yeah. So certainty, if I'm just reading through the dictionary, with Apple. Shoot, why is it so echoey?
Because Dark Master has his mic.
Okay, does that show up in the recording?
Yeah, it does, unfortunately.
Damn. Okay.
I apologize.
Well, let's see. Firm conviction that something is the case, the quality of being reliably true, the general air of confidence, the fact that is definitely true, or an event that is definitely going to take place.
Right. So the classical denotative is just like you think X is objectively true, insofar as what certainty
actually
means.
true, but
Yeah.
in the sense that it couldn't be wrong.
Yeah.
Like it's not as simple as like you think X is actually true. It's you think X is actually true, and you think you couldn't be wrong about it.
I guess I'm just wondering if like
Without doubt.
Right.
Yeah.
Where like so you could have a lecture where like maybe like you conclude with saying X is certain, right? But like
Wouldn't you just say X
maybe
is
do it
almost
in such a
certain?
way where you don't talk about like the stuff you're confident in.
What do you mean?
Like I'm just sort of thinking of like what scenarios could you talk about that would exclude you talking about confidence but include you talking about certainty.
No, but if you had to talk about certainty, you would say I'm almost certain that X is the case.
Mm-hmm. Which is a confident way to put, I guess, the proposition.
If you would say, I would say it's a humble way to put a certain position.
Yeah.
Now, in sync, where would you say the arcane falls insofar as being with certainty?
The arcane is in what? The existence of it?
Like existence itself.
No, but like how certain existence itself is.
So
I cannot fathom the way that it could be false. There is no, like, in my personal opinion, there is no way. I'm about as sure of that as I have ever been of any fact in my entire life, and I'm confident that the amount of confidence that I invest in the proposition is equivalent to like what it's due, and I think that like the proposition.
Right, so yeah, so you have what could perhaps be described as maximal confidence.
Yes.
But my question is would that reach the benchmark of certainty for you?
No.
Okay.
I would be almost certain.
Okay. Fair enough.
Look, in terms of like the existence of something, I am basically certain, but
right, but you're not like certain. Right, but you're not like at that specific point. I understand.
Yeah. I just don't know how I could ever be certain, because even if I feel certain, rationally, I understand that based on what I am, as in subjectivity, that is a claim that isn't available to me.
No, I
Yeah.
know, because
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all agree with that. Like, we're trying to use people tools to like solve stuff that's
Yeah.
like with
Mhm.
like to solve
Yeah,
stuff
so like,
that, like
if you ask for
we're
my
in.
people tool answer, I am certain. If you're
Yeah.
asking for my philosophical answer, I understand that certainty isn't a reasonable thing to hold. So I'm really, really confident.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a pyramid, and whatever would be what we would want to call absolute certainty, or that which would justify absolute certainty, is at the very tip of the pyramid. The level of confidence that we could have is, the step or two down from that place. That you could jump up into it for a practical moment's use of that kind of.
Yeah,
what
like we construct the notion of like that benchmark, and then we're saying that we're like below that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that we don't need to like sit in that chair or that throne for all time, because it's really.
Hold on, I have an argument against this, right? So like, you guys don't have like certainty, so therefore, like, why should you do anything? It's
You
it's
shouldn't.
actually it actually is sort of funny. So I've actually heard Insync talk about this quite a bit, but I don't think we've actually talked about this directly.
Probably
But
not.
I think that we basically agree anyway, and that's what I've suspected. I mean, like, okay. I am confident that we basically agree on this,
Okay.
but I was less confident before, and now I am more confident.
I like that, and I like the kind of slow inching towards the space where we could all kind of sit here and pat each other on the back and say, "Hey guys, yeah, we figured it all out. We're the dudes that did it." But even then, if we ever did actually get to that place and we could see things as they truly were, for me, I have a high standard in terms of what I would expect out of a person that stood in such a position, and namely, I would kind of expect that any one of us could kind of extemporaneously speak on any subject that had facts.
For
that
me
could be
to
known.
like accept something as certain, I would have to like literally be forced to do so. I think. But I don't know of like how that could happen.
Like
Anyhow,
at gunpoint kind of force.
no. I mean, because in that case, like, I wouldn't be forced to accept it. I would just be
I
forced
mean, maybe
to
if you
like
like,
say I accept it.
maybe if you transcend your form,
Go on.
like if somehow you gained access to all of the information that was,
Yeah.
like mentally, I don't know,
Yeah. Nice way to
Yeah,
put it
but-
too.
Yeah, but that
man.
force would still be necessary, because like you'd have to like.
No, but
be
I'm saying
forced
that
into
would
thinking
force
that
you.
have that.
That would force you having
That's the
access to the
force.
rest of the information. Yeah.
And you wouldn't really be you at that point. You would be a thing that remembers, like a earthly incarnation, so to speak.
Yeah,
That's accurate. Yeah.
I would be. Well, first of all, let me say, if that were to happen to me, I would be totally fine with it.
Same. Yeah.
But
Well, I
second,
mean, you wouldn't have any attachment to the idea that there was something to be upset about anymore.
Exactly. That's perfect.
yeah, but like, if I had a choice right now to like jump into that, I think I probably would, because I don't think I have any attachment to like the state that I am in now. And what I was just gonna say afterwards is like, so if you did have access to like all information, like, what would need to be built into that process, I think, would be forcing you to it would have to force you, I think, to accept certainty, in insofar as like the way that stuff is makes you think that. Like, that would have to be like a necessary component, which I think it would logically be, but like, I'm just saying that you would have to have that, like, you
For
would
sure,
have to
but I
have that
think
logic there.
I think what I was saying though is that I think, like, logically it would be a necessary component.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's kind of like you can't not know what is known if you are the sum total of all knowledge, as it is informationally relating to itself.
Yeah, if you can know, you know all that there is to know, which we as subjects cannot,
Not at
then you
this,
would be forced to be certain.
yeah. And it would be an inescapable kind of experience that I would think, like, if we were to just okay, so I'm going to just call that space of knowledge that we're gesturing at the idea that humans generally have tried to call God, and then they worship that space as if it's a real thing, or that some other thing has to embody that in order for it to be a possibility or a potentiality. I think that that's an unnecessary conflation that happens when thinking and the kind of meta version of it, thinking about our thinking, tries to get behind itself and say, but what is that? Like we're just asking the question, what is it? What is it to know? What is it to be? And what is it to have the evidence of that so self-evident that you would never doubt it, that you're just inescapably in that feedback loop? That would be like an experience of a limited perception in eternity, somewhat trying to break free from that echo chamber is the only thing that's coming to mind. And
It's an interesting way to put it.
I don't look at eternity as this thing that is experientially possible. Like you can only experience eternity with limits, and from the bottom up, so to speak, from what we're doing right now.
Hey, without like, so would anybody like to go into like a private call and talk about my worldview document as like I'm writing it?
I'm down to talk about it here.
A bit, yeah. Well, yeah, we could talk about it here, yeah.
Well, just,
like not to do it so like on the spot, but like to talk through any things that are like troubling or confusing or things that could be worded better. Or...
I mean, I sort of like conflate the two, not like. So what I mean is like, it's like, as I'm like thinking, like it seems like as I've been thinking about writing this thing, right?
Mhm.
I've been like writing like a little bit, and then like I'll be like, oh wait, but what about this thing? And then like I want to talk to it with like about somebody like in the immediate.
Yeah. Okay.
And then like another thing is like maybe I won't want to like write something about X, but I may want to put like a note about X.
Okay. Or at least think through it enough to where you're like satisfied that you've explored it enough.
Yeah. I just don't know if it's good to have on recording because like it's like it lacks
I'm not
like
sure
the
that
context.
I agree with that though. I
Well,
think the
do you-
context is
okay,
like you
let me
saying that
ask you
that's what
this.
you're doing.
Hold on, let me ask you this. Do you think that like the lack of like context would be a problem?
No, because you just clarified that there is a lack of context, giving it context.
Yeah, but it doesn't give like the context that's necessary for people to
But
like.
that's irrelevant. That just makes people curious.
I don't agree with that.
I think that's accurate. Like when it comes to working out like what you think about the world, it's a dialogic process, and other people can learn from our conversations, and that's what we're aiming to do with the
No,
recording.
sure, but like I think that like more people, right, would probably want to like know like what I'm basing certain things off of that
No,
like
but,
I've
like,
already addressed prior.
But that's not the point. The point is that
Right.
when the document is done, they can look in the document for that. The point is that working it out is an informative process.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just think
It's
that,
interesting
like,
to listen to. It helps other people understand.
yeah, but I think that the interest may be less, like considerably less,
I don't
considering
think
the
that
lack
that
of
is
foundational
enough.
context.
Yeah, but I don't think that's enough to justify not recording it.
Yeah, and even if it's just interesting to one person, the objective isn't more people. It's just that one extra person can understand the
Better.
thing that we're all doing better, yes, and maybe offer a new perspective that we didn't see. Because technically, the more minds you add to this pile, the more complex and kind of convoluted it can be.
The more people in the pie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah,
the more people isn't necessarily the more operative.
Yeah, like once you actually have it properly finished, this is the sort of thing that you will probably be looking to do anyway. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me not to record the now because, like, I wish that I had recordings of when I was working my ideas out because,
Same.
like, it's. I can only say so much about it now, but to be able to hear someone work through an apparent problem teaches you a little bit about how that is done, and that's something that lay people need to learn.
For sure.
No, I actually accept those arguments.
Nice. And where you're at with it, Dark Master, is it's a really, I think, compelling curiosity space for most people that can.
Wait a minute. You guys didn't agree with me. Therefore, you are against me as a person.
You must hate me as a human being, and
Yes. How dare you try to help me? Fuck you.
But dude, it's a really interesting space that you are writing from, because the whole document, I think, it's a necessary bridge.
Have you looked at it recently, man?
No, last week maybe.
Did you look at it when I told you to, though?
Last week when you told me to, but not anytime recently.
Ah, dude, looks so good.
All right, I'll get on it after, or should I do it now?
I reckon you should do it now. That's like what he wanted to do, right? Is like talk about it a bit.
Let's pull that up here. Where did I put you?
Where did I put you?
Get over here, you doc.
Honestly, if I like do some introspection, I wonder if some of it's just being a little self-conscious.
Some of it,
yeah, that's the impression I got, man.
I have the same thing though, and Matt has called me on it, and I still haven't fully risen to the occasion to do exactly what I'm proposing we all do right now.
Yeah, but like if it is like being self-conscious, it's like it's like a weird type of thing to be self-conscious about if true, right? Because like
No, because I feel
it's not being like self-conscious about like being wrong about like some particular detail in the moment. It's more like it's more like being self-conscious that you're putting yourself out there in a state where like you're not like you're putting yourself out there in a state where like it's sort of harder for you to it's sort of harder for you, I guess, to I don't want to say like talk about ideas, but more like establish them, because it's like it's like it's like sort of like when you are trying to like when you are sort of trying to come from a position of like you lack like a belief in you lack a belief in an idea. When you try to come from a position of you lack a belief in an idea, it's there is like there is like some difficulty, I think, because I'm not sure that in a sense people like find said idea as precisely.
Okay.
As precisely. What do you mean?
It's difficult because like I'm trying to find the words to.
Are you saying?
Can I?
Yeah, you go,
ahead.
Matt. Well, okay. Let me just try this real quick. Are you saying that like it's possible that other people will not value it as precisely as you're valuing it.
I thought what he was saying was maybe that it damages your credibility a little bit to put it out into the world when it's not finished.
That too. I could see that too.
But I think that it's
well, okay, so I think no. So I think that's like that may be like a more ultimate point, but like I'm talking less about talking less about that. Like I'm talking less about like the conclusion and more like a part of that, right?
Okay.
And I'm having trouble like thinking of like the best way to describe that.
Give it another shot.
Yeah.
So the process of trying to determine certain ideas within a huge variety of like ideas you could choose is stunting insofar as it is to find the ideas that you actually accept. Like that process is overwhelming. And because it's overwhelming, I think it makes it difficult to present myself in a way that's sufficient to maintain credibility to an extent. I think that may be the better way to put it.
Point, yeah.
Which I'm not, which like may just be, I mean, it may just be more of a human thing I have to accept, but
I think that part of the thing that I practice is trying to be as open about my mistakes and shortcomings and like wherever I don't have information and all of that, because I think that the average person appreciates it when you tell them what you don't know and when you tell them things that you're unsure about, because it shows that you don't think you know everything and that you are working it out too, and that it is okay to be wrong.
yeah, for sure.
Yep, that's good stuff.
Right. No. I don't disagree with that. It's more like it's I guess it's more like the process of actually like developing ideas. I think people tend to like respect far less. And it's weird. It's can I just say this too? It's extra weird for me to be talking about appearance, since I usually shit on like people that focus on appearance over substance. But I think that this goes to show, right, that like even
You shit on them, you kinky bastard.
Yeah, even people that recognize like it's better to focus on substance above appearance, like I think that there's like traits in people like inherently that still make them value like appearance, even if they try to get away from a lot of that as much as they can. And some of that, I'm not saying appearance is invaluable, but like I'm saying that like people have inherent traits, like for example being defensive, that like make them value that in like a way that's irrational.
No, I don't necessarily accept that. I think it's possible to value appearance in a substantive way.
No, I'm not arguing against that. That's what I tried to make a point against earlier. I'm saying that like for people to value appearance in a non-substantive way is something they're predisposed to because they are people.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but if you practice, then you can like circumvent that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well,
I'm just saying that if I'm sucking right now, that's probably why I'm sucking.
Okay, well, I accept that.
Here's one of the things that I think is kind of at least presenting itself to my mind.
Hi, Cross. I'm trying to explain how much I suck, which may also be an argument for how much I don't suck, but it's an argument for how much I suck insofar as describing what I think.
Well, I mean, you suck at least 5 penises a day, so it's it's not a small amount.
No, I don't, because that is gay. Ghey.
Are you saying no homo?
Listen to me, right? You have gay sex, but you say no homo. That negates the act that you just.
That I can't argue with that.
It's inarguable.
See, I have defeated you, and we have it on recording.
The syllogistic king over here.
Check him out. All right, man. So, Dark Master, I see I see a lot of these similar patterns of what I probably still struggle with in many ways, but like let me put it in a somewhat metaphoric sense that when you are at least in this recorded moment kind of slowly feeling out the dark in your subconscious, like it's as though you're stepping so that you don't step off an edge and then fall and then come to some bottomless pit of experience that you're not willing to experience in public.
But there's another level to that, right? It's like also he is like talking about how he's walking along the edge, and it's confronting if in talking about it with someone else you figure out that you actually fell off the cliff and didn't realize it.
Right. Which is like that's what I think Matt's point about like being able to kind of acknowledge the points that we know and don't know, and to use those spaces where we agree we don't know as almost like place markers.
I'll definitely try. I just think it's like ultimately useful to like have this discussion as a prerequisite.
It is, man. And this helps us all flesh out the way that we are going to kind of dialogue through all this, because I personally don't have much of a taste for debate, and I try to evolve or elevate the debate into a dialectic where
it's so
all
weird,
parties
right?
pursue a truth.
Yeah, it's weird though, because like with me, like in my personality, I'm usually aggressive as fuck, but like lately, ever since I've like come here, like I've been considerably less aggressive than I usually am.
It's good, man. I feel the same way. I kind of almost get a little bit of a therapeutic.
I mean, to be fair, I'm like the proxy for being aggressive.
Yeah, like you almost give us a little bit of a metric where I'm like, okay, cool. Now I get to see
like he's not like Vlad levels of aggressive, but he's like still pretty aggressive.
I don't have any problem with aggression, especially in the male of our species. It's like kind of a part of the biological structures we're inhabiting.
Part of the problem is that like all of the other males are competing in some sense, and not many of them know how to compete properly. And
I look at it like very differently. So I look at it like there is like behavior, right? And then like, is that behavior? I know, right? A crazy thing to say. Behavior exists.
I can't accept it.
So behavior, so like behavior exists, and does the behavior conform?
Dude, you can't just insist on your presuppositions, eh?
Hey, okay. Hold on, instinct. Just your mom's a whore. So yeah, behavior exists.
It's just not a cheapo.
Yeah.
Is the behavior acceptable within my ethical model? And like a lot of aggression is, right? Like a lot of experiences of aggression are allotted for within my ethical model. So that's basically how I accept it. And then as far as like what I value, like if somebody is in the state of aggression, but like they're also doing it well. When I say doing it well, I mean like the substance of what they're saying is well. Then yeah, like whatever. That's like, so that's fine. And the substance. So like the model allows for like the aggression in this sense, and then like the value I perceive is like the discussion itself.
I would say that's like aggression tempered by truth.
Yeah, but I'm saying that I value the truth.
Good, because that's what we all do. Do you guys know the movie Interstellar?
Yep.
Okay, so you know when the main character, I forget his name, he's asking the robot what his honesty settings are at, and the robot responds like 95%. He's like, all right, let's dial it back to 90. Or something, like just tells him like that's a little too honest. Let's bring it back a bit.
Yeah.
That's what I mean essentially by value system preferences. That you have a self-awareness of how your ethical model or your perceptive model or however you want to frame it.
I just mean this in the sense.
Hold up. I know. I'm not talking about what you mean. I'm stating a little something that I think we all might be able to use. which is that like the way that we can kind of request of each other, like, hey man, I like what you're saying, but like it might be your percentage is maybe at 75 and it should be at 70, and I think that it should be at 70 because X, and we start to formulate ways of structuring the way that we're all self-evaluating, and an objective kind of inner subjective, I don't mean objective, sorry, an inner subjective model will emerge out of that we'll all begin to start to pattern off of.
But I'm a disagreeable piece of shit though.
But we should find a way that we can install disagreeableness in some way into this, because like I'm essentially using the paragon.
Disagreeableness.exe.
That what?
We just call it cuntness.exe.
Yeah.
No. Cuntness is like so if if disagreeableness
The essential
is like the
nature of
process.
being a cunt.
Hold on. If disagreeableness is the process, right? Then like cuntiness is like that's like the theme you download for like the interface.
Yeah, dude.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if we use kind of a little bit of computer speak with it, there's going to be some way that we all can start to dial it in a bit.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
But yeah, like my problem is not really ever, Dark Master, with your with the things that you're saying, because I think that you personally are coming into your own voice and the way that you're going to speak. I perceive it as a bridge, your document, and I see it as a bridge that could lead additional people that didn't realize they had a preference for truth at a high standard.
Yeah, I definitely, that's how.
Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe, and join us in the Nameless Debates Discord. We hope to see you there.